Our first guest is an Emmy Award-winning broadcaster. She is the host of the popular Rachel Maddow, like Shadow. I always say Maddow. I've known her for 8 years. I say Maddow. It's not Maddow. It's Shadow, like Maddow.
Yeah, don't make this mistake. Rachel Shadow. You'll see. He's going to do it.
The popular Rachel Maddow show. Weeknights on MSNBC. Ladies and gentlemen, here she is, Rachel Maddow. Long admired you, and I don't know why I can't get the name right. It's Maddow, like Shadow. That's what everybody tells me.
You can just call me Bub. I don't care what you call me. Bub. The Bub Show.
Welcome back. Nice to see you. Happy New Year.
You too. Thanks.
Tell me this. We've talked to others about this. Chris Christie and the bridge closing. Big deal? Not a big deal? I maintain by Labor Day it'll all go away. Now, I was just told that there are federal subpoenas in some Hoboken case that he's involved in, withholding Sandy relief funds, on and on. What's happening?
The FBI is interviewing people in conjunction with the Hoboken allegations. The mayor of Hoboken says that the Christie administration told her, if you don't okay this private development deal in your town, Hoboken might not get the Sandy relief funds that you otherwise think you're going to get. So there's been FBI interviews about that. There's been subpoenas today from the U.S. Attorney's Office of the Chris Christie re-election campaign, the state Republican Party. They say there's a bunch more, too, that we haven't named yet, that are about closing those lanes on that bridge. Mm-hmm. So that's a federal prosecutor looking into potential criminal.
Now, let me ask you this. Is there any difference between the Hoboken situation and the Sandy relief funds and the George Washington Bridge? To me, the George Washington Bridge is just horseplay. And the Hoboken situation reminds me of Chicago politics as I heard about it when I was a kid.
In both, I mean, the thing that's interesting about the way the Christie story is unfolding is that we keep hearing all of these news stories about the way he did business. The Jersey City mayor, for example, produced all of this documentation that shows that Chris Christie was going to do all of this stuff for Jersey City, and it was all lined up and it was all ready to go. And then as soon as the mayor said, I'm not going to endorse your re-election, bingo, within an hour, everything canceled. Mm-hmm. So that clearly is the way that they do business. And the question is whether or not it is criminal. If they shut down the lanes of that bridge for a political vendetta, that is probably more than just disgusting. It's probably criminal, but we'll know more once the prosecutor says so.
And I was of the impression that he was rock solid in New Jersey. Now, people tell me that approval polls in New Jersey are starting to erode a bit. Is that the case? Yeah. What about him running for president in 2016? Going to happen, not going to happen? I say this will blow over and he will run and everything will be fine.
I think that it's way too early to know. I would never have guessed that we'd have federal subpoenas in this story today. The big unanswered question at the heart of all of this is why they did it. We still don't know. If they did shut down that bridge and punish that town for 4 days and gridlock that whole town and inconvenience hundreds of thousands of people, the economic impact they think was hundreds of millions of dollars, if they did that for a political vendetta because they were really mad at Fort Lee, we still don't know what they were mad at Fort Lee for.
But again, I want to reference Chicago. I know Chicago is not New Jersey, but honest to God, growing up, this is the way I thought politics operated because of my proximity to Chicago. Yeah. Doesn't this just seem like old-time, backroom, cigar-smoking politics?
Yes. And it's usually illegal. I mean, I went back and looked at my interview with, remember Rod Blagojevich?
Yeah, now there's a guy. There's a guy who was really, I mean, compared to closing down the bridge, he was selling a Senate seat.
But I interviewed him when he was still defending himself for selling the Senate seat. I went back to that interview today, and I said to him in this interview, you realize that you're not supposed to get stuff for the Senate seat. You're not supposed to make people essentially pay you for it. And he was like, yeah, I'm in a political business. And so, right, the way you do business is in fact criminal, and now you're a federal inmate. So it may be the way these guys do business, but sometimes they get caught and they have to go to the pokey. Mm-hmm.
But in the case of Rod Blagojevich, he was going to get money for himself and for his family. The thing for Christie, it was more general than just I want money for, give me a watch, give me a car, give me a house.
Well,
it wasn't that.
It can be for for personal gain. And like, for example, in the Bob McDonnell scandal, where there were just 14 felony indictments in Virginia, that seems like it was personal gain because he was taking money and gifts and stuff for his family. But it can also be illegal to do it for political gain in order to get something else that you want politically.
Well, why does this happen? Why does this keep happening? And why do people go into politics? Do they go in thinking that they're going to participate in scandals, or it just occurs to them when they're in there? Or what happens? I mean, it just seems to be endemic.
I think that this is my personal opinion. I think the reason this happens is because there aren't enough prosecutions of people for when it does happen. There's a reason that Rod Blagojevich thought it was okay. It's because people had gotten away with it. And, you know, the Christie folks, I mean, time for some traffic problems in Fort Lee. Got it. Is it wrong that I'm smiling? No, those are the children of Democratic voters who can't get to the first day of school. I mean, they put this stuff in writing.
That was awful.
It's terrible. And they obviously thought that this was both the way you do politics and that they were safe.
What was the woman's name?
Bridget Ann Kelly.
Bridget Ann Kelly. And as I mentioned to someone else on the program, right out of the box, he tossed her under the bus and called her a liar. Yeah. Bang, zoom, Bridget Ann Kelly, liar. Well, there you go. There's the rest of her life. What became of her? What is she going to do? Any recourse? Will we ever hear from her again? Has anyone found her?
Very interesting detail. She just changed lawyers, which might mean nothing. But the lawyer that she had before was seen as really being sort of on the Christie side of New Jersey politics. And now she's got a new lawyer who's not on that side. Yeah. So if my boss not only fired me, blamed the whole thing on me, called me stupid, and tried to make the whole thing seem like it was my fault, and it wasn't my fault, I would probably testify against my boss. Right. And I'd probably get a lawyer who'd coach me how to do that.
Yeah. But if you're Governor Christie and you hold that press conference and within 90 seconds of taking the microphone, you blame her for everything that happened, full well knowing maybe that's not exactly the way it happened, that's a pretty big risk.
Yes. Ding, 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 ding. That's why this story is, like, people keep wanting to assume the story's over and jump to whether or not Christie's going to run for president. No. We don't even know what this story is yet. And blaming it on your deputy chief of staff and calling her stupid and saying it's a day, it's over, it doesn't work that way. So we'll see. The subpoenas will help get a lot of this information out.
All right, I'll tell you what, we have other things to chat about when we come back with the lovely Rachel Maddow. Ladies and gentlemen. Happened to be watching MSNBC. Look what happened today on MSNBC, and I'm only showing this because it's never happened in the history of, television anywhere. I don't know if you knew about it. I don't know if it was planned.
It's on my network?
Yeah, on your network. Take a look. This was, I don't know.
Why more states haven't simply adopted.
Look at this. Freeze it right there. That's good. Freeze it. Thank you. They're all wearing yellow ties. That's never happened.
I wouldn't have even, I mean, it's not like yellow ties are that common.
Who is the guy in the middle? Do you know the man in the middle?
No, he's very handsome.
If he had been in a blue shirt, if that guy had worn a blue shirt, I mean, then we could all take the day off.
You ever worry that's like a signal to somebody? When you see the 3 yellow ties on the Peacock Network, the wet bird will fly.
It's time to go.
Operative has just gone into motion.
Speaking of concerns along those lines, what do you know about the Sochi, am I saying that properly, Sochi Olympics? What do you know about that? What do you know about possible threats that the Ring of Steel has been penetrated? Vladimir Putin has really got quite a lot at stake here. This show better go off untarnished.
Every time the Olympics happens in modern times, and even in not so modern times, people worry about the threat of terrorism just because it's such a high-profile thing. That's no different in Sochi. The only Russian inflection here is that they do have a rather sort of ripe insurgency going on right now with sort of Chechen militants and militants in Dagestan and all these groups that are vowing to attack. So that may just be them, those militant groups, trying to become more famous in terms of their cause against Russia. or it may be a real threat. What's interesting is that the U.S. and Russia disagree about so much. They're totally working together on the security challenges. I tend to believe that it's going to probably be the safest place on Earth, but obviously everybody's worried.
Now, if you were an athlete, a family member of an athlete, would you be going carefree to Russia for the Olympics?
Well, as a gay person, there's that little inflection.
Yeah, now what?
I'd be safe in jail. Okay. Yeah.
Should there have been, hindsight here, should there have been a larger, more active, aggressive boycott or, pardon the expression, stink raised about their views on gay rights and human rights in Russia? I was hoping that everybody would pull out and everybody would say, no, this is not right. This is medieval times. Forget it. We're not going.
I mean, the people who have made that case, I think, have made a very articulate case. And it is embarrassing, I'm sure, for the big corporate sponsors of the Olympics to see their logos on the jackets of the Olympic security people who are wrestling the gay rights protesters to the ground at the torch relay and stuff. It's humiliating, and they got to figure out some way to distance themselves from that part of it. At the same time, the athletes, and including the gay athletes, they want to compete in the Olympics.
And Vladimir Putin said they would not be targeted, which to me is like, oh, thanks.
Yeah. So when we're gone, what happens then to the people who have to live here with you all the time?
So I mean, if gay athletes are competing over there, representing the United States, representing countries around the world, and if the thing is a huge success, then they have helped make Russia look good.
Unless they make Russia look really bad. I mean, being openly gay in Russia is itself an act of bravery right now. And athletes are coming from all over the world right now to Russia and have the opportunity to do that. And I don't expect, Mexico City-style protests, but simply being open about your sexual orientation is a one-finger salute to Vladimir Putin. And I think a lot of people who might have otherwise not brought it up are going to be bringing it up.
There you go. Have you seen Vladimir Putin with his shirt off?
Yes, I have.
Do we have the montage of Vladimir Putin? Why is he doing this? That's
my favorite one.
Yeah, why is he doing that?
Vladimir Putin as sea monster.
He does everything with his shirt off.
It's not real. I wonder if he's just wearing a chest suit.
Let's go
Maybe
hunting.
That's not really him.
Here, I'm gonna. You know what? I think somebody hold my shirt. I'm gonna. Why? Honest to God, why?
God.
Yes, that's right.
Mean, American politicians should do more of that.
It takes
about
one's
the
breath away, doesn't
primaries.
it? Hey, listen, your show is on weeknights at MSNBC. God bless you. Good to see you again.
Thank you.
It's Rachel Maddow, like Shadow. You know what I'm talking about? We'll be right back with Spike Jones, everybody.